Hello, this is Carl here again, and the reason I'm making this video is because I made a little update in the auto search reader. It's this one right here called Stats, and this gives you verse statistics. And the reason I created this was actually because we're doing a study in Mark, and before, a while back, there was a pastor who was telling me that the verses, a lot of them in the book of Mark begin with the word "and," because it's um, displaying the servitude of Jesus. So things would happen like right away, immediately, one right after the other, and this happened, and that happened, and this happened. So what I wanted to do, I want to just specifically for that verse is to see how many um, how many verses actually begin with the word "and" for their first word. So I'm going to go to the search box right now, and in order to find out to do a search to find the first word where it begins with "and," I have to realize that verses begin with a number. So I have a number here, and after the number is a space, and then the word "and" can go in here. And I'm going to put a \B for a word boundary because I don't want it to pick up like words like Andrew. So this is going to find a number, a space, and the word "and." And we have 11,609 verses in the Bible that begin with the word "and." And there's actually 31,102 verses in the Bible. So that's getting up there almost maybe a third of them. Let's just scroll through these just to make sure that I did that right. And it looks pretty good. Like I've got a number and the word "and." So I would say I did that right. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this stats button. Okay. When I click on stats, I come down here and it tells me that this is my search results verse list. This purple one is the quantity of verses in the book. The blue one is the percentage of verses in the book. That these are the ones that actually matched in our search results list that are in this search results verse list. And if for some reason the color changes from blue to what's this kind of like a fuchsia color, that means that there's duplicate verses in that book. So the percentages could be off the numbers. When search results end up duplicated, we'll have a yellow highlight down here on the numbers. Let me turn on the Windows magnifier because this is actually a little hard to see. Now we see down here the black numbers, 1,142. That's how many verses are in my search results verse list that matched "and." There's that many in Genesis. The 1,533, that tells me how many verses are in the entire book of Genesis. 74.5% of the verses that are in Genesis begin with "and." And that actually seems kind of high. When I scroll this over here, it looks like they're all up above 50%. And another thing here, you can actually hold your mouse over these. List first count, book first count. Something's not right there. Oh, that was right. That was right. Sorry. Percentage in the book. And then this one spells out the entire, so like EX is for Exodus. Okay. It looks like there's a lot of them in here that have a lot of, over half of the verses. There's one's a little below half. Oh, that one's almost down to a quarter of them. And then we got Job with 5.1% and 3.4%. There's pretty many, Song of Solomon's is That Song of Solomon is only 0.9%. That one's pretty low. But I was actually kind of surprised to see how many of them actually begin with and. And look at Mark. Mark, there's only 68.1% in Mark. So Mark actually has less than Genesis, which kind of surprised me. Now, let me come over here. I'm going to get rid of the Windows magnifier. And I'm going to show you there's other things you can do. Now, what you have to click on Help. And then, because that'll get rid of the last ones that we did, the last chart. So now we come over here, and we can actually click on clipboard verses. And this up here tells me this is the clipboard verse list, and that's what's on it. And you can notice this one here is like this contains duplicate verses, and it's that color. And then I can click on these other ones, and you can see them changing up top here. And these all actually are just copies. This one here has duplicate verses. This one has duplicate verses, but this doesn't. Editable verse list is something I'm doing for the study in Mark. And this is our search results that I just showed you down there. It'll be a duplicate. But you can see that works like that. Now I'm going to show you, let me go back to my search dialog. Let me go to 8 and just put in Genesis. I'm going to equals that. Search for that one. I'm going to save this. Okay, this is not letting me save it in my search results. So I'm just going to overwrite, and then I'm going to append. And now it tells me down here I have 3,066 verses in my Save One list. So now when I click on the See Lists, there's my 3,066. And this is over 100%. So when this is highlighted yellow, you can see that's highlighted yellow. That's meaning that I have over 100%, but I had to knock it down to 100% so these bars up here don't go way off the charts. Now there's one more thing I wanted to go over with you. When we were looking for the word "and" being the first word in each verse, that's not the same as when we go to our Bible reader and we go to this verse here, which has "and" in it, and we see the double click that, we've got our word stats. This chart here is different because this is dealing just with the word "and" it also splits it up into the different cases that it appears in the Bible. So this doesn't mean that it's the first one in the verse. This is all the word "ands," all the words, all the occurrences of the word "and." So like when we're doing some searches, let's close this out. Let's say like Spirit of God. We can do a specific search for that. I'm going to copy that. I'll go back to my search and I'll paste it in here. Now we have 26 verses that match Spirit of God. When we do our stats, we can see it occurs the most times in 1 Corinthians because that was all the way up at 100%. And then it would be 1 Samuel. Then it looks like over here at Romans would be the next time the phrase Spirit of God occurs. And the percentage of verses, you can look at this blue and you can see that that occurs in 1.1% of the verses. So of the 437, it occurs in 5 of them. So I hope this explains how this is different than the word clicks, where it's dealing with words, and this is dealing with the actual search results. And I hope this comes in useful and handy for you at some point. And thanks for watching. You can ask questions in the comments below. That would be acceptable, and I will try to get back to you. Thank you very much.